How to write a resume. Brought to you by Ruthless, Resume.com. Why should you listen to Unre? Unre built many multi-million-dollar companies. He built these companies based on the success of the people he hired and the teams he built. He believes that successful people create a successful company. He now does career coaching based on these same principles and knowledge, and consistently coach people into financially successful and emotionally fulfilling careers. Let's jump right into this 10-minute video. How to write your resume. First point, let's look at the first one. Your resume should enable the recruiter to get to know you. We talked about all the different areas recruiters are looking at: willingness, manageability, motivation, ability to fit. Could you share about that?
This is where they look for how you made decisions in the past. How did you deal with good managers, bad managers? How did you deal with good colleagues, bad colleagues?
Yes.
Did you have people below you? How did you deal with them when they gave you trouble? Which functions were you responsible and how did you report on those?
Mm-hmm.
Those very, very straightforward work-related aspects gives a very clear indication of your willingness to tackle things, ownership.
Yes.
Are you manageable in the sense that you inform on both bad things and good things? Are you motivated intrinsically?
Mm-hmm.
So when the going got tough, you got going.
Mm-hmm.
So all of these indicates how you will fit into our work team.
Yes.
And these decisions you've made and how you've made the decisions, how you responded to different situations tells absolutely who you are and where you come from, which should be written in such a way that it leads to the golden thread, which I notice is your next subject.
Yes. We're going to look at that in a little bit more detail now, but just to point through.
If I just add to it, this indicates also to a recruiter to find the right fit and the right job, as much as it shows him to avoid that you get the wrong job. So many people take such a huge step backwards when they go for the wrong job versus rather stay where they are.
Yes.
So going for a wrong job can put you back, which impacts your earnings for the rest of your life. And I think that's something we can't say enough. This resume, where it goes to work for you, will have an impact on the rest of your life.
Yes.
So you can't put enough effort in.
Let's jump to developing your golden thread. What is the golden thread in short? And why do we talk about that? Why do we call it that?
The simplest one is to say that you always had an interest in this industry, this company, this job. Firstly. So it shows your past interests.
Consistency, yeah.
Consistency, if you wish. How you participated with things or people, with the industry or not. How did you develop in your work skills? All of those things indicate one way or another a consistency. People are always amazed if you ask them these questions, that they are actually consistent. They just didn't identify the consistency. And it's that identification that we call the golden thread through your life. So it's how you make decisions. Secondly, so the first one is what you were interested in, how you participated and so forth. And the second one is that each one of us have a fairly consistent way of making decisions and responding to situations. So it indicates both tracks of your golden thread. Stability comes out of it. Even if you've had job changes, if you show that your decision making was consistent and your interests were consistent, you've demonstrated your golden thread.
Okay, and I think you've just touched on how one develops the golden thread. We don't have the time here to go into absolute detail on all the questions you usually ask. But just to mention the fact that we do drop into a lot of detail on the Ruthless resume system. How does your resume actually look? Let's just talk about that for a second. The big one that we've noticed is no pictures because it actually subtracts from attention. You have 6 seconds, 10 seconds, between 6 and 10 seconds, and the chronological template, and then if you can, no more than 2 pages.
If you can pull the essence out of a resume, and this applies whether you've ever worked or not, or whether you've been working for 30 years, you still have an essence of where you've participated, how you've participated, what you have achieved, and therefore how you can contribute to this team and this company and this job. So again, this whole format is to let people see
Yes.
that you are ready for this industry, this company, and this job, and committed.
And you need to use a format that communicates that as quickly as possible.
And these formats over time has proven most effective.
Okay, yes. And then jumping into target industry keywords in your resume. And what we found was that if you go and research online, for example, and you find keywords that would that would resonate with the recruiter, your chances get much better to get noticed.
You know, in an industry, in a company, in a job and team, they use a language which is like a jargon or a cultural language in that industry, company, and so forth. And you can find this language on what they've published. Even if you have to go there or get somebody to go there to get you documents from what they've published. It is critical that you walk in, and even in your resume, when you prepare a pinpoint resume for a job, company, industry, that the language is familiar to the recruiter. You can imagine if I use the words you are familiar with in your context, it gives you great comfort.
Absolutely.
So it's not a very complex thing. But very, very few people do it.
Actually do it.
Almost haven't seen it done.
Interesting. And we can, we always say start online, and
as I'm saying, online typically you find, but not all companies publish. Therefore, the worst case is that you go there or find somebody to go there. But many companies these days you find online, but not all.
Reasonably easy anyway. Considering that your resume gets usually 10 to 50 seconds, it's critical to have a structured resume. And then to have it strategically composed, like we said, with how the resume should look. We should compose it strategically to have that maximum impact. In your experience, how quickly, what are you looking for? Just talk about what you're looking for in that first 5 seconds.
You typically look for something that says, I've looked at the company, I've looked at the job, and this is why I believe there's a fit. I want to very quickly see that you've gone that extra yard. To come across the line to look at us, rather than expect me to go across the line and read where you come from.
Okay. And that goes for the cover letter as well.
Especially the cover letter, where you have maximum 2 paragraphs. You don't have more than half a page, which is 2 paragraphs. And that must very, very directly link to what is in your resume, where I prefer the resume starting from today working backwards. But again, remember, you got to go and look at the type of resume that company wants. And that's a call to their HR department. Do they have a preference for resume format? You may just find they mail you one. Now, once you have this totally developed, structured, document, to rewrite it in any format is no problem. So, in summary, if you have your document ready, you've developed it like you've developed it for the rest of your life, with that seriousness, you are ready to rewrite it in any format a company sends you.
Yes, yes.
And it's really worth it to ask what format they want. I've gone so far as to help people to have a tea or a coffee with somebody from the company, especially the HR division, and figure out how they hire, and then adapt myself to their hiring.
In conclusion, apply these guidelines and write a cover letter resume combo that get you noticed out of thousands. A time-tested warning. Your resume must stand out in some way. On average, you have about 6 seconds to impress the recruiter with your cover letter and resume. Use our advice and make those 6 seconds count. Take action now. The only purpose of a resume is to get you the interview. Do you agree that getting the right job now will impact the rest of your work life? Then why not write a resume that stand up and shout for you out of thousands of other resumes trying to steal your attention? Get the job that's right for you. Click the Ruthless Resume.com link below.